Would everyone please rise while we recite the council prayer? Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilor Lenzi, Councilor Martin.
Here.
Councilor Armin Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Milanazzo.
Here.
Councilor Broderick.
Here.
Mayor Caulfield.
Here.
Councilor Elliott.
Here.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Here.
9 present.
I have removed my suit coat, sport coat, and why don't everyone else do the same thing and feel comfortable? It's going to be a long evening. I'm going to read the vote. Pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 32, the City Council of the City of Lowell acknowledges timely receipt from the City Manager on June 4th, 2008, of the recommended budget for the City of Lowell for fiscal year 2009, with the understanding that any recommended revisions thereto, as may be submitted by the City Manager at a later date and prior to the date of final approval of said budget by the City Council, shall collectively be considered the proposed budget for fiscal year 2009 for the City of Lowell. A public hearing on the budget as advertised in the Sun on May 31st, 2008, to be held on Monday, June 9th, 2008 at 5 p.m. and on Tuesday, June 10th, 2008, at the conclusion of the regularly scheduled City Council meeting in the City Council chambers and on such other dates and times as may be publicly announced by the City Council. Accept the communication placed on file by Councilor Armin Mercia, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. It has been accepted and recorded. I'd like to read the public announcement. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 32, the Lowell City Council will hold public hearings for the consideration of the City Manager's proposed fiscal 2009 City of Lowell budget. In accordance with City Council Rule Number 26A, a public hearing on the annual budget is being held as previously stated at this budget hearing. Citizens and employees of the city shall have the opportunity to speak for not more than 5 minutes at the commencement of the hearing or on the entire budget and on any specific item therein. In addition, or in the alternative, said citizen and employees shall have the opportunity to speak prior to the consideration by the City Council of the particular portion of the budget concerning one or more of the various departments. But each person shall speak not more than 5 times, and for not more than 3 minutes each time. Individual speakers shall not be permitted to assign the allocated time to another individual. I hope that's understood by everybody. I would like now to, if anyone is in the audience who would like to speak on the budget, please come to the podium and give your views. I think there's people up on the balcony coming down to speak on the budget. That's what, give us some time to get to the podium.
Mr. Manager, Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
For the
Councilor
record,
Mercia.
I just want to say there's 3 areas that what we can do with this budget. We can accept the budget, reject the budget, or decrease the budget, but we cannot add it to this budget.
Right. If anyone is here to speak on the budget, please give us your name, address, and you cannot speak more than 5 minutes. Okay.
Thank you. My name is Stacy Seschel. I live at 31 Harvard Street. As a member of Lowell Stand for Children and as a parent of 2 kids in the public schools, I respectfully ask that you satisfy the school committee's request for the additional funds to restore critical positions that are being cut. Since 2002, the schools have eliminated over 300 positions. This year, the school committee cut another $3.5 million from the school budget. And during these tight times, we understand that the proposed cuts are needed, but we also recognize that these burdens places a lot of burdens on our students, on parents, and on teachers. And the impact of these cuts lands hardest on Lowell's most vulnerable students and places added strain on remaining professional staff. Moreover, the positions that provide targeted language and math support profoundly impede the district's ability to close the achievement gap in our city. This creates kind of a compounding condition, and I don't mean to be hyperbolic about it. I'm not hyperbolizing. When individual students don't receive the support they need to perform well, schools fall short on adequate yearly progress goals. Consequently, families living in the city or considering moving to the city begin to think twice about their options. At best, they exit the public school system and stay in the city. At worst, they relocate for another school district and another city to call home. And at the end of the day, student performance has a ripple effect with tremendous consequences for all of us who live in the city. So I respectfully ask that you find a way to restore the positions that are on the table. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on the budget?
Hi, my name is Leanne Squelia, and I reside at 15 O'Hare Way. I'm also a member of Stand for Children, and since Stacy already mentioned the importance of closing the achievement gap, I won't go over that again. But suffice it to say that No Child Left Behind and closing the achievement gap is definitely a reality for us, especially in a city like Lowell, where more than 60% of the students are low income, and we have a significant ELL population. Also a reality is the budget. We know that money is tight this year and that tough choices have to be made about how to most effectively spend our limited resources. Unfortunately, those of you in charge of our young people are not in an easy position this year, and we understand that and respect it. Proposed budget cuts will eliminate 10 reading, math, and ELL teachers in some of the most fragile schools in our district. Of particular concern is the impact on learning for the 47.6% of Lowell students that claim English as their second language. With a percentage that high, we're no longer talking about serving a minority population. We're talking about meeting the needs of an entire community that needs the comprehensive educational services that these 10 positions provide. According to a report by the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund, Lowell has the second largest Cambodian community in the country, comprising 28.9% of the student population, and I think that we should be very proud of that. The report also states that dropout rates for Massachusetts ELL students have increased every year since 2002. ELLs have a higher dropout rate than any other group in the state at 9.5%. The average dropout rate of the general population is 3.3. That report elaborates on the state of ELL students in Lowell, but really those numbers are water under the bridge. Those students that we've lost have been absorbed into the local economy, likely earning minimum wage at 1 or 2 part-time jobs and struggling to make ends meet. That is not to say that their success is precluded by present circumstance, but just consider how much easier it is for the educated person. We could speculate the if-onlys and the should-haves, but it would take us away from the more pressing issue at hand tonight, which is to figure out how we're going to find the money to keep these teachers in their classrooms. Eliminating these positions conveys the message that we're okay with that dropout rate and that we're okay with taking the chance of becoming an underperforming school district. I know that isn't true. If it was, none of you would be sitting in these chairs and these people would not be here. Stand for Children respectfully requests that the City Council make every effort to support.
How much longer? You have
1 minute. We just respectfully request that you find the money.
We have an awful lot of people behind you. And it's
I know. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Next, please. Who would like to speak next? Anyone like to address the budget? On the budget, any part of the budget? Any part of the budget? No one else would like to speak?
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Jackie Doherty. I reside at 77 Tyler Park. I know it's spring, not because my irises are flowering, but because I'm here before the city council again. And I think you can hear the hoarseness in my voice. It might be from 5 straight years of asking for the council to support our schools. This time is different, however. We're now into the 12th year in a row of the city not meeting its 100% contribution to the schools. Although I have to admit, last year we came the closest we've come in a long time, and I appreciate that. Last year we also had $1.8 million in state funding earmarked for schools that the schools only got $800,000 of, which was half of it. What else is different is that we're now cutting down to the bone. We really are. It was bad enough in 2003 when the school department eliminated consumer science teachers, when our elementary students lost science as a special in elementary school, when we lost our media library staff. But now, if you look at the list of 10 priority positions that are before you, we're looking at cutting math intervention teachers in the middle schools and elementary reading specialists. These are key positions for us to continue to make progress, and I just want to note one thing about the progress we've made. Lowell now stands as one of the leading large urban school districts. It's uncontested. Of the top 5 largest districts in the state, Lowell was #1 for meeting our adequate yearly progress in English last year. We're #2 for meeting our adequate yearly progress in math. Those are great strides, they really are. We can hold our heads up and say, of all the urban school districts, we're at the leading of the pack. But when we compare our scores to our surrounding communities, we don't do as well. Our students are not performing as well because they have more challenges, they have more needs, and I won't go into what those details are. I know you're all aware of the English language issues, the poverty issues. The point I want to make is we look at these 10 positions, each one is key to our continued success, our ability not only to stay ahead of our urban districts, to continue to lead the pack in urban school systems, but also to begin to close that achievement gap so that our kids are performing as well as kids in Chelmsford and Acton and Westford. And why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they get the supports they need to perform as well? I know that's what every one of you wants here. I understand the fiscal reality that we're in. All I want to ask for is an additional $212,000 to take the 6 priority positions that the city manager has put in the budget and extend that to the remaining 4. And if I could just take a minute, I want to read what those 10 positions are. We're talking about an ESL teacher for the Malloy Alternative High School, an ELA ESL teacher split between the Bartlett and the Pine Arts schools, a math art teacher for the Rogers Middle School, a math intervention teacher at the Wayne Middle School, an instructional technology teacher at the Starclosa Middle School, elementary reading specialist at the Merkland, the Lincoln, the Maury, the Pawtuckettville, the Shaughnessy, excellent schools that are doing really good work every day with our students. But 4 of those schools have already been identified that their students are not making the progress the state expects. We don't want to fall back. That's my fear, that we'll fall back from the progress we've seen in the last couple of years. And I'll end on this one last note. When we compared our MCAS scores in 2005 with our MCAS scores in 2007, we saw that 29% more Lowell students, 29% more students scored advanced or proficient in MCAS, and 18% more got out of warning. We pulled up the top and the bottom. That's a great encouragement for those of us on the school side who are working very hard to make our schools better. And my fear is if we cut these positions, if we don't restore at least those 10, we won't see scores like that next year. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to come forward? Don't be bashful or afraid. Come right up to that podium if you'd like to say something. Come on. No? Anyone else like to speak on the budget? On the budget. Okay, at this point in time, I would like to recognize Manager Lynch, and I want to thank Manager Lynch for furnishing the council with a workable budget in alphabetical order, and I think it's going to be very helpful to us. Mr. Manager, you have the floor, the chair. We pull down the shade.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The PowerPoint presentation that I have here up on the screen, we've actually, I think, provided each one of the council members with a handout. I apologize, the light may make it difficult for some people to see the presentation that we'll be making, but I just have a very brief a very brief PowerPoint presentation to just hit on the highlights, I think, of the budget and just help frame some of the discussion that the councilors may wish to have on the budget. As has been stated by me on a number of occasions, and certainly by even some of the speakers that were here tonight, the fiscal year 09 budget is once again a difficult budget for the city of Lowell, just as it has been for many municipalities across the Commonwealth. I have to say that looking at what I've seen going around the state and talking to different local officials, the city of Lowell finds itself in a position where it is a difficult time, but I'm happy to say I think that we're on the right track, we're making the right moves, and have been for a period of time now that I think sets us up well, and I think the information that we'll be providing you with tonight is indicative of that. Just if I could, let me just go to the next slide. Just in terms of the budget highlights, a couple of things that I certainly try to achieve in working with the department heads and the staff of the city. This is what I've heard from the city council, and certainly I've heard as I've gone around the city and talked to people. First off, in terms of taxes, and we'll get into more specifics on a few of these, it can only be described, and I think it has to be described as only moderate tax growth. And I say that, you know, again, we'll get to more specifics on this, but we limited ourselves once again this year to a 2.5% increase in the taxes citywide. That keeps our taxes $5 million below the levy limit. When we look at neighboring communities and we look at communities across the Commonwealth, we are actually seeing communities going above 2.5% in many cases, or trying to go above 2.5%. And many of them have already well exceeded their property tax cap. They've gone above that through overrides and debt exemptions and the like. The city of Lowell is fortunately not in that position. So we're certainly focused on recognition of the impact on the taxpayers of the city. The second highlight I would point to is that generally speaking, there are no layoffs for most of the city departments. I understand that in the school department there are some layoffs. We have handled most of the job reductions in the non-school departments through the attrition process and simply not filling positions. And I think if you look at the budget and go through each one of the departments, you can see that many of them are, is that better? Many of them are, in fact, have had positions that have been vacated through the years and have never been filled. So the total jobs within the city government have decreased dramatically over the last, 4 or 5 years. So we're, that continues, but we've done that through attrition. And then thirdly, generally speaking, certainly when you have a budget as tight as we have it this year, and it has been for the last several years, it has an impact upon our ability to deliver the services to the citizens of the city. But generally speaking, once again, generally speaking, we have been able to maintain services throughout the city. Revenue highlights. We did have some negative news in terms of our revenues this year. In most years, we look out at the revenues and we say, okay, we have moderate state aid increase and moderate increase in local receipts and, a small amount of tax increase perhaps and the like. We actually lost money in a number of our revenue sources this year, indicative of the economy, but also just indicative, too, of changes that are happening that we have little control over. For instance, this year, we once again lost money from the School Building Assistance Program. Last year, you may recall, I believe it was $1.3 million that were reduced from the School Building Assistance Program. In fiscal year 09, we're looking at a reduction of another $950,000. This is because the audits have now been completed on all of the school projects that were done over the last decade. During that period of time, the state was basically overpaying us because they were utilizing numbers that were provided to them when the projects were initiated based upon higher interest rates than, in fact, we actually borrowed the money at. And so once they do the audit and find out that it wasn't actually costing us, and I'm just using a rough number here, 6% to borrow the money, and in fact we borrowed it at 4.5%, they now have to make an adjustment. So while we benefited during the early 2000s and late 90s, early 2000s in terms of having money come in from the state, now they have made a correction and are in fact recouping the money that they gave us during that period of time. So that's a major hit to our revenues. Likewise, the Department of Revenue had been allowing us to draw upon the wastewater account. I believe it was $2.2 million in fiscal year 06, 1.1 in fiscal year 07, and 1.1 in fiscal year 08. Our budgets were built around that. In fiscal year 09, that option is no longer available to us, so we lost another $1.1 million in revenue there. Unlike what we've had in certainly in the past, I have to say we have not had it in the last 2 years, and we do not have it this year. We do not have anything left in reserves. In fact, as you know, we have a negative $1.1 million in free cash. I know that in the past the budget had been built upon the utilization of free cash to hope to maintain services during some very difficult times. That money is no longer available to us. It has not been available to us for the last, as I say, last 3 years. And in fact, we have a negative free cash to the tune of $1.1 million. Which I suppose is an improvement because a year ago it was negative $2.2 million. So we're heading in the right direction there, but unfortunately it means that we do not have additional revenue that we can draw upon to handle one-time costs or some of the issues that we grapple with within the budget. We are hoping, we do anticipate utilizing overlay surplus. Having said what I just said about the free cash and our being able to draw upon reserves, we have, as the City Council knows, we discussed this at a recent subcommittee meeting and then at the City Council meeting that followed it. And the Mayor, of course, has looked into this issue as well. We are anticipating right now within this spending plan that at the time, sometime in the summer, when we get a better handle working with the assessors on what the abatement cases are that are out there, that we will be able to free up or have freed up for us to draw upon $1.4 million that will go towards helping close our snow and ice budget deficit, as well as our arena, a portion of our arena deficit. We are now under obligation under the Department of Revenue rules to cover all of our enterprise deficits, so we will need to draw upon that money to do that. In terms of the second largest revenue source for the city, the largest revenue source for the city is state aid. The only increase we saw this year was in Chapter 70 for the schools. All of that money, as you will see, has been dedicated to the schools. The other state aid that we receive, we actually went down this year. And we don't show that as a loss of revenue, but we actually went down by a couple $100,000 in the upcoming year. So that's, again, an added pressure on us. But the second largest form of revenue is the property taxes. Under the budget that we've put forward to you for consideration, we do remain $5 million below the tax limit. Very pleased that we've been able to do that. I think that's a real accomplishment here in the city, and again, it's following on the lead of the City Council, which has asked me on a number of occasions as we go through this budget process to work to ensure that the taxpayers are not overly impacted, recognizing the difficulty that many of those individuals are facing. We are estimating new growth of $2.2 million. That does include money from the telecom tax. But on the flip side, we also have to set aside money in case those cases that are currently before the Supreme Judicial Court the Appellate Tax Board decision is overturned. So it's showing a little bit more new growth than we had anticipated in the past, but it also, on the expenditure side of the budget, we have had to set aside money in case those appeals are reversed. In terms of taxes, just to give you some sense of what the taxes mean when we talk about 2.5%, again, we stay $5 million below the levy limit. We're one of only a handful of communities across the Commonwealth that is in that position. A 2.5% increase equals $2.4 million for the city. That comes to about $70 for the average single-family homeowner. based upon current values. Now, that may change a bit, and we see that really only going down, although, obviously we have to be careful in what we say with that. But we do see residential values dropping by some 7 to 8%. They're trending downwards. Don't really have a firm handle yet on the commercial values, but assuming that commercial values stay where they are or just a small decrease and residentials go down 7 or 8%, that $70 number becomes lower. It comes down to somewhere probably in the $60 range, but it's difficult at this time to say exactly what that's going to be. But based upon the current values, we're looking at that $70 for the single family. One of the questions that one of the councils asked me to look at is, well, if we were to cut back, and really put a squeeze on this budget, even more so than it's already been squeezed, and certainly the sense that we have is it's a very tight budget. What would happen if we were to save $100,000 of, make $100,000 of cuts? That would be a savings of just under $3 for the average taxpayer. That's, if somehow there's $100,000 there that can be pulled out of the budget, it has the effect of, $3 for the year for the average taxpayer. On the expenditure side, just to give a sense of what the highlights are there. First off, when doing the budget, we had very realistic and accurate cost estimates. We were very careful to ensure that when we were making projections for costs that were, sometimes require a little bit of forecasting, we made sure that those were realistic and they were accurate, and that we covered all of the costs that we are aware of. We did retain public safety staffing at current levels, and I have to say that that's something we've done generally across the board. Although we did, in a number of departments, we did make, if there were positions that were open, we did generally freeze those out and have chosen not to fill those. But in public safety, we retained the same number of police officers on the street and the same number of firefighters, which we feel is crucial here in the city to cover our public safety needs. We are certainly aware of the demands placed upon the police department. We're also aware that we do on a regular basis close fire stations, and we'd like to minimize that. I know that's been an issue of the council in the past, and certainly has been a concern of mine as well. We do within the budget, and it's a very minimal amount, do have new debt service associated with the capital budget that the City Council took a vote of the beginning of the implementation of that. As you recall, that includes things like the Riley School roof, the Riley School boiler, the Bartlett School roof, as well as some items out at the Colley Stadium, the lights that were unsafe out there, some public safety equipment needs, and the high school boiler system. And again, here at City Hall to replace the boiler here, which is having problems and is certainly not the most energy efficient system. I did not include any air conditioning for the council chamber, though, so just in case there are any questions on that. The staff reductions, as I said, have been through attrition. In terms of the school budget, recognizing the people that have gotten up to speak tonight on the school budget and on the city budget overall, we did as we went through this process. As you probably saw, we did try over a period of times of iterations of the budget where we continue to try to put additional money into the school budget. We do recognize the significance of the school department within the overall city services and the need to put money there. So I would have to characterize that as continued support, although not like all departments, not meeting all of the requests that were put before us. Net school spending does remain a concern, and school committee woman, you already mentioned the need, how we came close this year. We're going to continue to try to hit that target, so it does certainly remain a concern. To give you some sense of what the school budget, how that all plays out, in the general fund expenditures, then we'll get more into the school in a little more detail. This gives you some sense of where money goes within the overall budget. And I think this is a very telling a listing of the resources that are put into the budget, the general fund budget, which totals some $275 million. Schools, of course, make up the largest share of that. $143 million goes to schools. Personnel, non-school personnel of all of the departments totals $90 million, just over $90 million. Debt service, which we're obligated to pay, is $21.7 million, almost $21.8. Trash and recycling, and this is the lower number based upon the new bids that we've received from in working with BFI. That's just under $6.4 million. Legal claims, a relatively low number for a corporation of this size of $960,000. Then you have your ordinary expenses. And if I had to say anything, this is where perhaps you could, as you go through the budget, you may be able to, pull some money here and there. Although I think this is something that, looking at it historically, this is where we've tightened up and ratcheted down on a yearly basis for the last several years. The ordinary expenses are, just the costs of operation. But I will stress that within that $10.7 million includes a couple $1 million for utilities. It also includes $500,000 for veterans benefits. It includes the $400,000 for the the auditorium. Then you start getting into some very small areas, the postage for the various departments, the office supplies, the money spent in the public works department to buy supplies to maintain the roads, maintain the fields, and so on. And we have a whole listing of those if that would be helpful as the council deliberates this. But when you're looking at those first items that we have there, those are really somewhat fixed, certainly based upon the charge that's been put to me in terms of the personnel of the city. The other items there, we don't have a lot of play. Then you have capital items that this is just investing again in the infrastructure of the city on an annual basis. It doesn't include the capital budget which is borrowed money that we've talked about over the last couple of months. And then snow and ice. And frankly, the snow and ice is an area that the $580,000 is not a realistic number. I think we all know that. We would need to have an extremely warm winter to only spend $580,000. This year we've spent, and it was a tough winter, but we've spent somewhere in the vicinity of $2.6 to $2.7 million on snow and ice. So we know $580,000 is not truly realistic. We did increase it last year to get it up closer to realistic, but we're well below where we should be. But it is one of the only budget items that you can spend this year and carry into the following year if need be. You can overrun that budget, and that's we do that, but it's an area, frankly, that I think we need to address long term. In the school funding calculations, there was a mention that the school budget has been cut. I realize sometimes we use different terminology when we're describing what takes place in departments. I do recognize that the school budget was reduced from its initial presentation. But in fact, the school budget for fiscal year '09 does have a net effect of about $1.5 million more than it had in fiscal year 2008. In fiscal year 2008, the school budget was $135,975. We did increase that by the state aid. Actually, we went above the state aid number we received. We rounded it off to $1 million. We have added in another $325,000 of city resources to put towards of tax revenue to put towards the school budget. We did shift, and this is where the net aspect comes in, we did shift $450,000 that had been carried in the city manager's budget for rent for the school department space. That's $450,000. But that we know directly goes to the rent, whether it's paid out of the city manager's budget or the school budget. But it is a school expenditure, so we wanted to cover it within that budget. And then we had a shift. This was the preliminary increase we made in the school budget of shifting some local receipts that we, in better accounting of how we were transferring some money, of some $200,000. Meaning that the school budget that is within this budget that's before you tonight is $137,950,089. I believe that's my entire presentation. As I say, I have other slides that I'd be happy to show as we go through the discussions, talking about things like health insurance and the school budget spending and over a historical perspective, but I think that outlines certainly the highlights that we have for you tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manager. That was very informative, and the council and I certainly appreciate the information. I'm asking the council, would you like to go through the budget department by department? What's the wish of the body?
That's fine with me. I like to go through it department by department.
Okay.
Yeah.
A motion by Councilor Kazanjian to go through department by department. Anyone want to second that? Seconded by Mr. Lindsay. All in favor? Signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That's the way it will be done. Does everyone have the workable budget alphabetically? That's what I'm going to be working with. You're going to find that it's very easy to do. Yes. And we're going to start right off on the budget with the Greater Lowell Regional Technical School. The total budget, $5,473,473. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to discuss this particular budget? If so, come to the podium and give us your name, please. What's the wish of the body?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All in favor? Yes, Mr. Martin. Councilor Martin.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, this is the minimum request. This is the minimum we are required to approve.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes. We have yes, Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is my understanding that this is a formula that's used, and we have to go by this formula. They go by this formula, and they present it to us.
Yes.
So move approval is a given, more or less.
Roll call, please.
Councilor Lenzi,
Present.
Councilor Martin,
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazanjian.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 present.
The Lowell School Department budget. The bottom line is $137,950,089. Anyone wishing to speak on this particular budget, please come to the podium. What is the wish of the body?
All right.
Move approval?
Move approval by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Elliott. Any other discussion or debate? Yes, Councilor Mercer.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to make a public disclosure that my daughter works at Lowell High School in the cafeteria, and if this is part of that budget, would I be able to?
Can you get a ruling
would
from
I
the
be able to?
solicitor?
You can eventually vote on the bottom line of the budget.
Of the whole budget, not
whole
this
budget.
particular.
The bottom line of this
Okay.
budget, right?
Thank you.
Councilor Milonazo?
Again, like Councilor Rita Mercia, for the record, my wife is a school teacher at the Greenout School, but it's my understanding that she's actually a Title I teacher and is not paid out of this $137 million. But just for the record, I just want to get that on the record. I do have a question though, if I could, on the presentation that was made by school committee woman Doherty, where she talked about the 10 positions. Is it my understanding, Mr. Manager, that you have worked toward putting back some of those positions in?
6.
6. 6 of the 10
Yes.
have been put back in the budget. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the people who came down here tonight to speak about the school budget. I admire their commitment and their advocacy for the children in the Lowell school system. And when I was mayor, I had the privilege of meeting with many of them, unfortunately, to talk about the need for more money for the schools. It seems like we never really get to where we need to be. However, I do think the manager should be commended. Here, in addition to the additional $1 million in revenue and state aid, there is close to an additional $1 million that the manager has identified from other sources, including tax revenue, local receipts, and picking up the rent cost now onto the city side of the budget. So I think there has been a good faith attempt to compromise on this issue. I know it's probably $225,000 short of of where at least certain people in the school department would like it to be, but it's close to $1 million higher than where it was originally. So I want to thank the manager for his efforts, and also members of the school committee and groups like Stand for Children, who we desperately need in this city. But I'm going to support the figure that the manager put forward. I do think it's unfortunately not where I'd like to see it. I'd like to see us at the 100% of net school spending, and hopefully we can get there soon. Unfortunately, I just don't see, given what we have to work with on the city side of the budget, that there's really much more room here.
Mr. Lindsay, Council Lindsay?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd also like to thank the people who came down and spoke this evening, and I believe, just like public safety, that there's a direct relationship to the money that we put into public safety, and there's also a direct relationship to the money we put into education as to how successful we are. And I think that we've done a good job in attaining additional funds. My question is, in the overlay account, when those monies become available, is there any possibility that any positions could be reinstated if that $1.4 million came to fruition?
Well, the 1.4 that we're hoping is there, if it does come to fruition, has already been sort of focused on the snow and ice deficit and the arena deficit. If perchance we receive, we were able to free up more money, and that's, I have to say, that's doubtful given the cases that we currently have before. As you recall, we have $3 million within the overlay account right now, and we have claims cases totaling some $4 million. But we're hopeful that we can resolve some of those and free up some money. But if there were more money made available, I suppose anything is possible. The only thing, cautionary point I would make is that we do try, certainly, to hold one-time monies for one-time costs, and we see the snow and ice deficit as a semi-one-time cost. Likewise, the overlay surplus is a semi-one-time revenue. But certainly, as we go forward into the fall, there may be some additional funding that becomes available that we may be able to do something. But
Thank you. Council Broderick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, I think you did a good job finding some more money for the schools. I applaud the people that came down. I know it's a very difficult thing. And School Committee Woman Jackie Doherty, again, good to see you. Unfortunately, can't get you what you need. But I look forward to, as time goes on here, with the negotiations you've done with the contracts and the hopefully projected the projected savings come to fruition, that we can start to earmark some of this or put some of this aside for the schools, so that as the city notices a savings in the health insurance and hopefully the solid waste removal and these things that utilities and energy and things that we've been discussing, and I know you're working on, that we can somehow start to squirrel some of that away to increase our funding for the schools, because it is important. With the Hamilton Canal project coming up, there was a comment made tonight that we need a strong educational system if we want to attract families. And the quality of our citizens is going to be proportional to the quality of the education that's offered here. So I think that, I know it has been a priority, Mr. Manager, and I applaud your willingness to go and find more money for the schools. But I hope that as we start to realize some savings on the city side, that we can remember and squirrel some away for the school side as well. That's all.
Okay,
thank you.
Mr. Manager?
thank you, Councilor. Just one comment I guess I would make with that is certainly one of the we talk about the money that's been increased in the school budget this year. That doesn't include the savings that were realized through the language that was incorporated into the last school teacher's contract that encourages, certainly it makes available and encourages members to join the PPO, and I know that represented some real savings, and I think it's a credit to the school committee that was in place at that time, and the mayor that was in place at that time that participated in some very arduous negotiations to put that language in, and certainly came in very handy in helping lessen the blow this year.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Manager, I know we're working on this new recycling program, and also we got new contracts coming up for the arena, and also I think the spinners. If we save some money in the next few months when this all takes effect, I think the recycling starts in January for this new pay-as-you-throw. If we vote on what we're going to do, is there a possibility of bringing some of these jobs back for the school department, and also if we bring enough back for the school department and bring some money back so we can cut some taxes down also?
Sure.
Is it a possibility?
I suppose anything's a possibility. It's tough for this fiscal year to make that possible, Counselor, particularly given the fact that much of this is kicked in for solid waste. Just using that as an example, towards that doesn't kick in until January, and pretty much all the spending decisions have to be in place by December when we file the recap sheet. But if somehow there's, and likewise the Spinners contract comes up after December 30th or 31st, if there's any savings that we can make in the arena, certainly that may be some advantage. We may be able to make some adjustments there, and there may be some potential there. So there's some things that may be happening over the next 6 months that we can look at along those lines, but some of those are more difficult to tie down right now. The other point I would make on the recycling is that the budget that you have before you is based upon certain assumptions regarding the revenue that will come in from the pay-as-you-throw type of program, and it's also based upon the costs are based upon a certain amount of decrease in based upon an increased recycling rate. If we don't hit those targets, then that's problematic for us. If we exceed those targets, then we in the future will have money that will become available.
Well, the way it works is if they're going to not recycle, the people that don't recycle will pay more to. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right. So
right, they're
the ones will be paying, and it should be less money as a deficit for
if they're paying to make up that gap.
I think we planned on saving $2 million per year. Is that correct?
It's a number like that, yes.
Right around that figure.
Right.
Well, the bottom line is, and I know the school department's important. We want to save as many jobs as we can, but the bottom line is, we don't want to raise taxes as much as we're doing also.
Absolutely.
I mean, the economy's tough out there. Gas is over $4 a gallon, and the cost of living has gone up, and people are hurting out there. Right. So I think we have to work as hard as we can to keep the taxes down and
absolutely,
so.
Absolutely, and anything we can bring in to help achieve that is while maintaining essential services is really what we're all about.
Do you think with the new contracts coming up with the arena, the spinners, this new trash program, you think that might be able to happen?
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I mean, a big thing with the trash, of course, we've already assumed revenue and savings in the trash in the budget that you have before you. So that money's already pretty much assumed and included.
Right.
With the arena, it's possible. With the spinners, we won't know that until several months down the road. But certainly, it's a goal that we have.
Right.
If the body would allow, I would like to also, on behalf of the City Council, thank you for being here this evening on a very, very warm evening. And I attended the graduation at Lowell High School. We have students going to Harvard, MIT, Boston College, Boston University, UMass Lowell, Middlesex Community College. The band is just extraordinary. The crew team, the races along the Merrimack River. We have a lot of wonderful things happening in our school system. Wonderful things. And never say never. If the money's there, the council will certainly do whatever they can to make that happen. But one must just look at suburbia. We're much better off than some of those towns. They're really hurting. On the school committee budget, it was brought forward that we bring this to the council to fund those 10 positions. And I asked for an amendment that we fund or partially fund those positions. And I applaud the manager. We're going to fund 6 of those positions. There's 4 positions we have to find money for. If there's money there, then we'll find it. And we want to thank you for being here. And I know the students and their parents appreciate you being here, too. Thank you. The bottom line on the Lowell School Department budget is $137,950,089. Roll call.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
9 yeas.
The assessors budget. The total, bottom line, $607,905. Any discussion from the audience? No discussion? What's the wish of the body?
Motion approved.
Move for approval by Counsel Broderick, seconded by Counsel Arman Mercia. Roll call.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
9 yeas.
City Auditor. The total, bottom line, is $488,255. Any discussion from anyone in the audience? If not, what's the wish of the body? Move for approval by Counsel Rita Mercia, second, Counsel Martin.
I'm just seconding.
Oh, seconded by Counsel Martin. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
9 yeas.
There's a line item below the auditor's budget, Community Development Block Grant. The total, the bottom figure, is $39,675. Any discussion from the audience? If not, what's the wish of the body?
Move approval.
Move approved by Counsel Elliott, second by Counsel Broderick. Roll call.
Can I,
Counselor
Mr.
Lenzi?
Mayor?
Yes. Yes, Counsel
Uh,
Martin.
These funds are appropriation in accordance with the Community Development Block Grant plan that we approve, right?
Yes.
And I think, is it required, if I could inquire of the solicitor, I think a number of us serve on as board of directors of nonprofit associations that get those funds. So we required to disclose that before voting on the bottom line.
You could make that disclosure.
All right, I know I am on the board of the Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust, which I think receives an appropriation. I am on the board of the Duville Senior Care Foundation, which I don't think gets an appropriation, but has in the past. And as far as I know, that's all.
This line item here is to pay an employee. Counsel Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm on the board of Community Teamwork, CTI.
Okay. I don't see a problem. Roll call?
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
9 yeas.
City Clerk, the bottom line, $337,994. Anyone from the audience who'd like to come to the podium to discuss this budget? Wish of the body?
Move
Move
approval.
approved by Counsel Alma Mercia, seconded by Counsel Rita Mercia.
I have a question.
Yes.
I noticed that there's a position in the budget for dollar. Why aren't we just eliminating that position,
That's Mr. Manager?
Mr. Manager? I mean, by keeping it for a dollar, that means we can fill it later on.
During the year,
Right.
yes. Yes.
So if it's not filled now, why don't we just eliminate it?
Well, generally speaking, I think that when we create positions, we can, you could leave the position, this is sort of my interpretation of this, you could actually take this out, and the position would still exist for the council to be approached at some point in time to appropriate money for. If the council would like to eliminate this position, though, this dollar amount, and then we'll take it out of the personnel ordinance that comes before the council, we can do that as well. I have no intention of filling this position, I can assure you of that.
Thank you.
Counsel Kazanjian?
Thank you. I would like to eliminate this way here. If the manager wants to bring it forward, it comes in front of the council, and we can vote it either in and up or down at that point in time. So
So you want, the board wants to, the council wants to leave that dollar as it is in the budget?
No, I think
I want to eliminate it.
eliminate the dollar, which eliminates the position, and if it needs to be filled later, it
Roll
can come
call
back.
on eliminating
from us.
that position.
Wait,
Yes, Council Elliott?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Manager, how many positions exactly, I know there's some others that are funded for $1 in the budget?
I don't have a number on that,
And,
Council.
you know,
This has been the tradition of the city for forever, I think, to leave positions
For
in there
too
for
long.
$1. Again, my sense is that if a position is created within the personnel ordinance, it's always there so that you don't have to go through the process of necessarily creating it, but what you would do is simply come back to the council and take the necessary steps to implement it. But there are dozens that within there of that category.
Well, I've always had a concern about putting, if you need a position and it's in the budget, either fund it or not. And I understand your point that it's an ordinance has been set up, but it just seems like it's much cleaner, it's much neater. If you need a position, you're going to have to come for a transfer anyway, or the clerk or the auditor. So if we're going to do this for this one, it seems like we should, even if it's for other positions in the budget. It just seems like if we're going to do it for this one, we should do it across the board. And if you need positions, then bring them forward. So I don't have any objection to this one, but if we're going to do it, then let's do it for all of them.
We have a motion to eliminate this position for $1 by, I believe, Council Armitage, second by Council Kazanjian.
Yeah, I just want to say something, Mayor. I agree with Councilor Elliott. I would like to eliminate all of them also. All the positions there for $1. And then if they want to get reinstated later on, they can come in front of the council, and we can either vote it up and down at that point in time.
I think we could address that as we go
Okay,
into
great.
each
Yep.
budget.
Okay.
I think that's the.
We already approved 3 of them.
Council Millen.
Right, I guess my cautionary statement would be that some of them might actually be in collective bargaining agreements, because some are firefighter positions, some are police positions.
Well-
So again, I guess I would just,
we'll address each budget
Right.
as we get.
Okay.
We'll go to them.
okay.
Roll call on eliminate. Council Elliott.
Can we get that probably is a good point. Is that the case? I mean, if we're funding positions for...
There may be some positions in here that are referenced within collective bargaining agreements, and that even if the council votes to zero it out, the positions still exist. Likewise, within the personnel ordinance, there are positions that are still going to exist. This is a throwback to some notion that you had to have $1 in there to hold this position, but it's not any change would really require an additional appropriation in all likelihood. So perhaps the solicitor wants to weigh in on this in some way.
As the manager was explaining, he's correct in the sense that by simply eliminating the $1, you're not necessarily eliminating the position. However, historically, the way the budgets have always proceeded is that following the budget, we would have what was always referred to as a budget implementing ordinance, in which any positions that were added and those that were decreased would then be gathered up into this ordinance after the fact, and would then, in effect, create and delete positions per ordinance changes. So that was the reason historically that the positions remained in the budget for $1. Eliminating the position in the budget, if we wanted to retain the positions by ordinance, we could always do so afterwards. The act of merely eliminating the $1 appropriation in and of itself, as the manager has explained, has no real consequence.
Council Rita Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd also like to, through you, Mr. Manager, talk to the auditor. I believe she might have an opinion.
No, I definitely agree with the city solicitor. I mean, I've never dealt with, holding positions within the budget. The ordinance is created, the ordinance stays there unless you vote it out. So I see no use for the dollars.
Mr. Mayor?
Council Broderick.
Thank you. I think I understand it now. And is if a position is left in here for $1, because we just voted and approved 3, Mr. Manager, and maybe through you to the solicitor, whoever can answer this, if you were going to fund that position, you would have to come back to the council for a vote, correct?
For an additional appropriation, yes.
Right, because you have $1. I assume you're not going to hire them for $1. So if you came back to fund a $32,000, $145 job, you'd need another $32,144.
Exactly.
Okay. So it would come back to us for a vote in some fashion. At that time, we could say yes or no?
Correct.
Okay. Seeing as we have, it looks like, and I haven't counted them up, but, quite a few, I have no problem voting on this one because it doesn't seem like there's any type of union issue. I don't know. But I wonder if it makes sense to refer someone can make a motion for next week or take it up tomorrow night on the suspension of the rules and send it to the Personnel Subcommittee to review these and put together an ordinance to get rid of the ones that we don't want to continue. I mean, wiping out the $1 is not going to have an effect. We have to change the ordinance anyway. I don't know.
Councilor Cassandra?
Well, if there's enough money in that department, couldn't you just hire the individual and pay him? And you wouldn't have to bring it in front of the city council because the job is already there, correct?
With the $1.
With the $1.
Well, if the position's in the ordinance, then I believe.
Right, unless we create an ordinance to eliminate those jobs.
That's correct.
That's the only way we can get it.
That's correct.
Eliminate.
Right.
Okay.
So, yes, Councilor Martin?
I mean, I suggest we vote to eliminate this one. I think it's also the intention of the council that by voting to eliminate this, that would be incorporated, the elimination, in the personnel ordinance that comes back later. And so I think that's the intent of what the council wants to do with this one position, and I think we should address the others as they come.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think the intent of the motion by Councilor Mercia was this position is there's no one there, it's $1, let's address it, so.
Okay, but realistically, we can't eliminate this without an ordinance. Is that correct? Maybe I'm getting it wrong.
Correct, but I think there is going to be another vote by the council adopting an ordinance to implement
Right,
personnel
so
changes in the budget, so this will be in that.
Why don't we do them all together, all one shot, for an ordinance to eliminate all the jobs that are there for $1?
There could be union issues with some of those positions, I believe. Is that so?
Is that, well, can the solicitor answer that question? Or?
Yeah.
B.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Councilor Elliott?
Could you tell me some of those issues, what they would be? And I really just don't have any idea. What could they, if they're not funded, if they were funded and we didn't fill them, fine, but if they're not funded, what could those issues be in relation to collective bargaining?
I do believe.
I mean, because I've just looked through it, and you're right. There are a score. There are quite a few of these positions that are vacant, and either we have the money to fund them, or we don't. I really wasn't concerned about the $1. I mean, my concern was if there's an ordinance on the books that said we have a position and we want to keep the position, either we fund it or we don't. That way, it's cleaner, it's neater. We know, what positions are in the budget, and as been mentioned, got to come back for an ordinance. Appropriation, which, it's sort of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I don't understand what the issues might be with.
I'd like
to know what they are, really.
Could I address that?
I'd like to recognize Councilor Martin.
I'll tell you, my concern primarily is police and fire.
Right.
Historically, in this budget, there are positions funded for $1 that aren't filled yet because graduates are in the academy or, some other slots are open. So that's my concern, and I don't want to do anything that would run afoul of those budgets, the public safety budgets. To me, if you want to vote to eliminate them all and exempt those 2 departments,
Can we address them as department by department and go that road?
I still have some questions, Mayor. I think that makes sense, but what I also know is that if we're going to put a position in the budget, and I believe this is the general laws, you have to fully fund your budget for every single position that's in there, do you not? I guess that's a question to you, Madam Auditor. I mean, we can't just say, well, we know we're going to have X amount of retirements, so we're going to put certain amount of police positions in. I mean, if you're going to have a position, you have to fund it.
Well, in all actuality, though, when you're voting the budget itself, you're voting personal services. You're not voting individual positions.
Right.
It's illegal to vote individual positions. So it almost becomes a moot issue. If the funding is there for positions, you have it through the end of the year. If it's not there, if it's only there for $1, you can't fill it legally. I can't sign off on the employment action form because there's not enough funding for the end of the fiscal year. That answers.
Okay, good. Good
So
point.
could we move on and address this issue, then after we get into other departments, we could discuss that? And I agree with Councilor Martin.
I move the question. There's a motion on the floor.
Move the question. Roll call.
Council Lenzi,
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what the motion is exactly.
Is to, on the city clerk's budget, to remove the position for $1, funded for $1.
For this particular budget?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
9 yeas.
City council budget, total budget, $154,000. Any discussion from the audience on this particular budget? If not, what is the wish of the body?
Move approval.
You need my total.
What's the advertising for?
On the clerks.
What are we at?
This is city council. Oh, I'm sorry. We have to vote the total on the clerk, I'm very sorry. It's $1 less, it's $337,993. Let's take a roll call vote on that, please.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Now the city council. The bottom line is $154,000.
That doesn't include any raises we've got coming?
No.
No, okay, move approval.
Move approval by Council Arman Mercia, seconded by Council Elliott. Roll call.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
9
Lowell
yeas.
Senior Center. The bottom line, the bottom budget, $343,658. Any discussion from the audience? No? Council Rita Mercia.
Move approval.
Move approval by Council Rita Mercia, seconded by Council Broderick. Roll call.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Under the same budget, there's a community development block grant funding. And the bottom line on that is $17,000. Any discussion on that particular budget? If not, roll call.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
9 yeas.
The election office. The total budget for the election office is $232,500. Any discussion for the audience? If not, what's the wish of the body? Move for approval by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. Roll call.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Page 9, Finance General. The total is $150,522. Everyone has that before them. Any discussion for the audience? What's the wish of the body? $150,522.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Councilor Broderick, second by Councilor Martin. Roll call.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Fire Department. The bottom line, $15,036,525. Any discussion from the audience? Any discussion amongst the council? Council Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to make a motion to approve, but I noticed we have several positions that are funded for $1. And can I suggest that we don't fund those for $1 and also look into whether they can be, if there's going to be any type of contractual problem before we vote?
Could we get a discussion from the chief on that? It could be, if we want to bring on more firemen, Chief?
Yeah, good evening. I wish I could offer some clarification on the positions that are funded for $1. There's 3 of them, right? I know we've always built the budget funding for 201 uniformed personnel. Whether the collective bargaining agreement spells out 204, I don't know.
Mr. Manager, can you elaborate on that?
I do not believe it does
I don't
spell out
think so either.
204. This was positions that existed at one time. Obviously, at one time, it was even greater.
Yeah, we were 250 at one time.
Right.
We've gone up and down. I imagine at one point it was 204. They
Right.
only wanted to fund 201 and kept the positions.
Right.
So there wouldn't be an issue with you, Chief, if those were eliminated, those $1 positions?
I mean, I'd
Let
rather
us
keep,
know.
I'd rather keep the positions,
You would?
certainly.
Sure.
Why not?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's wise if we do.
Right, and then if there's money that becomes available, the
Right.
positions are already in existence there in the budget.
So something like the SAFER grants, I mean, if we picked up something where part of the funding was from the federal government and the positions are already there.
You want to retract any?
Do a motion to approve.
Motion to
as presented.
approve. Fire department budget,
Second.
$15,036,525. Any other discussion?
Yes.
Council Reader.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To the chief, I noticed that for the past 2 years, they've been having scuba equipment and air tanks. Air tanks, 25,000 on page 87, and scuba equipment, 5,500, whereas in fiscal year '07, it would be like 2,000 for scuba equipment, 5,000 for the air tanks. Is it that prevalent that we're having rescue in the water where we need all this money?
Yes, Counselor, it is, right. The scuba line item supports the dive team, and that's their tanks, their suits, and anything else that they need. And yes, it is. It's a very good dive team. It's a combination police and fire, and they are very busy, certainly with the summer and the boating and activities at the Rin
I
Beach.
just wanted to know. Thank you.
Council Elliott, then Council Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, for folks watching at home, typically these discussions, there are motions to cut and reduce. And I just wanted to note that the manager really has provided you provided a line item with us, but the original request from the chief, you've made reductions, and to the tune of almost $900,000. So these departments are bare bone budgets, in my opinion, and this is just a slight increase from last year, approximately of a $15 million budget. There's only a $36,000 increase. So I'm sure the department heads are going to be challenged, but you know, typically we can make motions, but there's already been at least 900 out of this particular department, and in total, Mr. Manager, of the requests that you received, approximately $6 million, as we read in the narrative of this budget, has been taken out from the requests typically submitted.
That's correct. We received requests from departments exceeding $6 million over what you see before you here.
All right, so
Roughly speaking.
I'm going to support this because there have been some significant reductions already before it's presented to us, and I appreciate that. I just thought it was important for the public to know that there are a number of columns provided. The request has been already pared back, and thank you, Mayor.
I just want to make a comment, Chief. You know, the scuba diving team, sometimes you take them for granted. You don't see them, but when you need them, they're there. And it's very important to the people, not only in Lowell, but Greater Lowell as well.
Right.
So, move to approve the budget of $15,036,525.
One more question, just for...
I'm sorry, Councilor.
Just for clarification on the buyback for sick leave, the request was for $325,000 and nothing was appropriated. Is that something that you're guessing at and you don't know what's coming down the line, or
No, Council, if you, when we get a little bit further into the budget, you'll see a very large increase in the city manager's budget for sick time buyback. What we did is we accumulated all of the sick buyback from requests from all the departments into the one location
budget.
so we can isolate what the cost is of the total sick time buyback within the city.
Okay.
You, Council Elliott?
That's a good point that I picked up. I mean, it went from 45,000, that's one of the concerns I have, from 45,000 to 671,000. That's collectively throughout all of the,
Entire city.
and is that something that we're, how long has that been in effect? Because it's, when we're looking at cutting budgets and we're looking at levy increases of 2.4 million,
Right.
right off the bat, that's 671,000.
My guess, Counselor, is that sick time buyback has probably been in existence here, and I'm guessing probably for 15 or 20 years.
And is it on an annual basis that is paid out, or is it just when they retire?
Two versions of sick buyback. One is when people retire, they're entitled to cash out a certain amount of days if they have them on the books. And then there are incentives built in on an annual basis for employees that use limited amount of sick time. There's a cash benefit to them.
Right, and I understand the premise behind it, that it was, put in place to, prevent abuse or provide an incentive for people not to use their sick leave, but it is becoming, it's got to the point where it is, it's really a big ticket item. It's a lot of money, and, sick leave is to be used when people are sick, and now it's, it's becoming difficult to fund when we're looking at limited state aid increase, and we're looking at, limited, other revenue sources. It's something we really got to take a hard look at when we go into collective bargaining, because it's, you can only go to the taxpayers for so much, and when, we have so many other needs, maybe there's something else that we can do.
Well, if I may, Counsel, that's
Yes.
one of the reasons that we isolated it this year in one location. When you have some of these, there's two philosophies there. One is you segment it out by purpose, by function, so that we know that the true operation of the fire department, for instance, includes those costs. But we felt also the other aspect, or the other approach, is to put it all in one location so that it highlights, trying to be transparent about what our costs are, that this is a major ticket item for the city, of the $600,000 that goes towards sick time buyback.
Well, and inevitably it's supposed to help productivity and manage, but, in the long run, we can't fund positions as a result of presumably, we could fund other positions, we could do other things, but, and I understand it's something that we have a commitment to, but I hope I hope you take a good look at it, and I'm sure you are. So, thank you, Mr. Manager. Thank you, Mayor.
Council Rita Mercier?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You could sit down, Chief. I don't have any more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
I think maybe we should just approve this line item and then this department, and then I have something to say about the rest of the budget.
The budget for the fire departments, $15,036,525. Roll call.
Councilor Lenzi?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercy?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercy?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Council Rita Mercier?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Contrary to what people might think, I enjoy numbers, and I looked favorably about getting this budget so that I could find out where this man, the manager, slipped up on something, and I could find something to cut here. And I spent the whole weekend off and on, line item by line item, making notes here, only to find out in a few pages down that explained what happened way back there. I would like to, and I just want to say that I don't want to just approve this budget and get out of here. I have nothing to do the rest of the night. I enjoy the heat, contrary to what people may think. It's not that it's hot here. And I don't want to shirk my duties or not be transparent, but I don't want to waste anybody's time. I don't have a problem with supporting in this whole budget. But I would ask my colleagues, if in this whole budget there's something you want to ask ask about, then that's my motion, Mr. Manager. Let's look at the rest of the budget as a whole, to anybody that has any questions in any department, and then move approval and just let's go, because I'm not trying to, prolong this. I don't have a problem with anything to cut. Yes, we only cut $1 already, but be that as it may, I don't have anything to offer to this except to say I couldn't find any more cuts. I think the manager did his job before we already got here. I don't have any problem with moving approval, but to make this motion that if anybody has any questions, randomly, because then we just approve of it.
Second to Council Reedy Mercer's motion. Okay, Council Elliott.
I'm not going to disagree with you, Council Mercer. I spent a good part of the weekend myself going through it line item by line item, and I appreciate the extra columns that you put in, Mr. Manager. You gave us FY07, you gave us 08, which showed where the expenditures are, what we used in this fiscal year, and where we're going. You actually gave us the request from the department heads, and then what your recommendation was. And there are a couple of line items that have increased because that's just the way it is, but the majority of these departments have been cut, and they're either level funded or they're funded at a level below this fiscal year, which I appreciate. I think we are looking at trying to do the best that we can, and there's not one of us here that wants to sit here and say, you know what, this budget is going to increase people's tax burden at home. And I'm happy to go through this budget. I don't have anything to do either. We've sat here on Saturdays in the past. This is my 11th budget. And we can sit here, and if we can find areas to cut back, I'll support it. But we're struggling here in the city. People are struggling at home. Businesses are struggling. I have to say, it's a bare bones budget. And, we're working with a negative free cash figure. Our reserves are drawn down. We're looking at using money from the overlay account to offset this, and you've taken $6 million out. We don't have any layoffs. We're not doing more hiring, and I do hear concerns sometimes about debt, how much debt we're taking on. We're also retiring debt, and the things that we have spent money on when it comes to bonding. We're talking about leaking roofs and boilers that aren't working. They're bare minimum, so it's no frills. This is just going to get us by, and we're going to continue to deliver the services. But we need to look, I guess when I focus on this, I look at the deficits, and we have some deficits, and they hurt us. I am concerned about the arena. When we look, we can sit here and cut, dollars, and we should be looking at dollars and cents, but when we're looking at $1.2 million deficit, that hurts. That really challenges our ability to run this government. I am concerned with the parking garage deficit that we're looking at, but it's these deficits, and we're looking at energy conservation measures. We know those are huge increases. Nothing we can do about it. We can conserve, we can look at ways to save, and we're looking at recycling solid waste, $4 million. Hopefully we're going to pass a new way of doing trash disposal, because we have to, and that's going to save a couple of million in this budget and work on recycling. So I'm happy to support this motion because in my opinion, there's no place to go. We don't want to hurt services. I think we're sort of just making it as it is, and we knew this was going to be a tough fiscal year, so I'll support that motion.
Council Broderick, then Council Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo the sentiments of Council Elliott and Council Reedy Mercia. Mr. Manager, I think you've done a tremendous job. We came in knowing there were going to be shortfalls. The school building, we lost almost $1 million. The water subsidy was $1.1 million. Combined, you're talking $2 million. Snow and ice deficit of $2 million. Negative free cash, $1.1 million. And you've presented, knowing what you were going to be coming into if you didn't, presented a balanced budget with a moderate tax increase. Now, moderate is relative. What's moderate to us here may not be moderate to someone at home right now. But the understanding that the state of the economy, what's going on in other cities and towns, not to use it as an excuse, but as something as a measuring stick. We've been able to maintain the $5 million space between the levy cap, and there's been no layoffs, and you're maintaining services, and at the same time putting us in a position where we can hopefully save some money, conserve our resources, and what I'd like to see is more investment in our infrastructure and in the city. We started the first bite at the capital improvement plan, and I think people will see the difference in the city as we move forward. I think the course has been set now. I have no problem listening if people want to go through and try and find, $5,000 or $10,000 here and there to pick off. But for the most part, you are charged with coming in with a balanced budget, cutting $6 million in a combination of cuts and raises, and you've done it without layoffs. And school department could always use some more money, and hopefully we can work towards that, as we all spoke about earlier. And I just think that you've done a tremendous job here overall. I mean, no document is perfect, but we're looking at a huge problem in the state, and we rely on state aid, and hopefully things turn around and we can start to increase our investment in the infrastructure and some of the other areas, school spending. But this document here, as far as I'm concerned, is very well thought out, and I appreciate your hard work. Thank you.
Council Amamercia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'm going to support this motion because when you look at the budget and you look at the request by the department heads throughout this budget, the cuts have already been made by the manager. I wish he would have saved a couple of the cuts for us, but he didn't. And so really, it's an effort and futility to continue on, and I think one of my colleagues said it well a little while ago. Don't want the people to think that the budget has not been cut. It has been cut before it came to us. So I think this is a good motion, simply because there isn't much that's going to be left to cut anyway. Thank you.
Council Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I, too, will support Council Rita Mercia's motion. I did speak with the city manager on a number of occasions, as well as CFO, Mr. Moses, over the past few days regarding the budget, and a lot of my questions were answered offline to my satisfaction. I think that the manager and his staff did do an excellent job bringing this budget forward at about $303 million. There are, however, some assumptions that his administration will have to look toward over the next, obviously, the fiscal year going forward. One question that I do have before we take a roll call on the motion having to do with trash and recycling services, I know it's a work in progress, but we did, under local receipts, look at one number of $2,279,000, and we ended up putting in as a recommendation $3,623,000, a difference of $1,344,000. My question is, what's your assumption in order to increase that local receipt number by $1,344,000? Again, it's still a deficit at the end of the day when you look at the trash line item under expenditures of a little over $6.5 million, but the local receipt number was increased by about $1,344,000. If I could, Mr. Mayor.
We basically looked, Council, we looked at two different options based upon the options that are right before the Council now as we look at our solid waste program. One is, just try, not doing full cost recovery. Full cost recovery would mean that the which is what used to exist in the city. Full cost recovery would increase the annual trash fee to $250 roughly. So one option we looked at was, they come out to about the same, of $175 per household, and I certainly heard from a number of councilors, in particular Councilor Rita Mercia, that really wasn't fair to the people who recycle. It doesn't encourage people to recycle. So, but that was one option that we had out there. The other is the notion that was discussed with the citizens group that's been working on this, discussed at the environmental subcommittee meetings, and Councilor Kazanjian has hit upon some of these notions as well in his points, of $125 and then $1.50 per bag for anything above that. Now, there are some other variations on that you could do, just bags, or but it's based upon those two scenarios creating a certain amount of money that would pay for the trash collection services, still leave us subsidizing it with tax dollars, a portion of it,
Right.
but getting us much closer and encouraging, certainly the latter scenario, encouraging people to recycle, which I know is something the council would like to do.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess it's the time to ask questions then. And I do have a few, and primarily around the whole situation with energy and fuel. You know, in the beginning, Mr. Manager, you said that we had reasonable expectations in expenditures, and so, well, I guess the bottom line question: what'd you use for a price of a gallon of gas going forward? What was that estimate? And just energy in general, what are we looking at increases for fuel in the coming year?
The essentially the way we worked energy is we did some trending over a period of time and increased everything by about 10%. Now, as we all know, I mean, we presented this budget to the city council back in on Wednesday of last week, and on Friday, the price of a barrel of oil went up dramatically, and we're certainly seeing signs that could continue for the next couple of months. I won't say we spend a good portion of our time tracking events in the Middle East, but certainly we're trying to monitor that very carefully. It's a real challenging issue, though, for us right now. But we did, as I say, trend upwards and then added 10% to that to try to hit those issues. I would also point out that Mr. Sheehan, as well as a number of staff people, have been working on a number of issues to try to hold down some of these costs. In particular, we're going to be purchasing our electricity and natural gas through third-party contracts once again, but it's going to be done in a different, instead of a fixed price manner, it's going to be done on an indexed basis that will allow us to benefit from some of the changes that happen in the marketplace that are more positive to us. There'll be upside limits of that as well, though. So,
and what about conservation? I mean, I guess that's the next
the other area, and it probably won't hit this fiscal year. I don't see much happening in fiscal year 09, but certainly for 010, we are moving forward. We have an RFP out on the street for performance contracting that would allow us to bring in a vendor that would go through all of our buildings, do an audit, then come to us with a number of recommendations to make changes, modifications to save energy. They would then finance those changes for us. That would eat into our capital budget that you've seen, the costs associated with that. The repayment of those capital investments that firm would make would come from some of the savings on the energy conservation. So obviously they're going to take on the large energy issues for us, and not the smaller ones. And we would reap those benefits. We would reap a portion of those benefits as well until such time as it's paid off, and then we would see all the benefits coming to the city.
Okay. Thanks. I don't have any more questions. I do have a comment, and I plan to support the motion. I really don't see an issue with transparency, because I do think this is a pretty comprehensive document, and in much detail outlines the spending plan for the city. And so I want to compliment the manager and your staff that's put it together. I see some new information here that if it was there in the past, I didn't see it in the past. But for example, the breakdown in debt service, I think, is something that's interesting to see, and I think members of the public would like to see it. I assume this budget is on the website.
It is online
and available. So I'd encourage people that are concerned about spending in the city to take a look, because I do think it's a very comprehensive summary of what we do here, and what citizens can expect from their city government, and where their tax dollar goes. And to the extent we do achieve some of these savings, I'm hopeful that as economic times continue to worsen, that maybe that per household tax increase won't be $70, and we'll be able to reduce that sum. So Again, thanks, Mr. Manager, to you and your staff and the department heads that have assisted you in managing, I know, what are very tight budgets, and to the workers in the city who do a good job for in very, in the vast majority of cases, very modest pay, and to the taxpayers who continue to support their government.
Thank you. Councilor Lindsay?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Being a new counselor, I guess I assumed that the process was to go through the budget,
Yes.
department by department, and when I received the budget, I found it very intriguing, being my first time being able to sit down and look at all the numbers. But I agree with Councilor Martin that, there's a lot of literature in there, reading, explanations, definitions, terminology that was very helpful, and I thought it was put together quite nicely. In saying that, the only thing that was glaring to me when I went through the budget was probably the parking garages, and I know that the new garage must have a lot to do with that. And I guess my question is the new garage sucking up some of the profits that we made off of the other garages, and maybe this is a short-term thing where we can forecast that will tend to be less expensive, but I really had just a little difficult time looking at those numbers and figuring that out. It seems like the insurance and the bonds and those costs were escalating quite rapidly.
If I may, Councilor, I think that's exactly it, and I'll have Chuck Carney perhaps make a presentation, have a few comments on the parking garage operations regarding the impact of the new garage on the overall parking budget. Chuck, would you? I do think that will change in time. Obviously, that will change in time as more activity comes there. I also think that it's obviously the wisdom of this city council that voted to build a garage, as well as the administration that advocated it, that I think it will pay dividends, perhaps not in parking revenues right away, but in tax dollars that will be coming into the city with the new developments that are taking place, the old ad and furniture property, the CMAA building that's being developed. But so we'll see it on another form of revenue, and in time, the revenues will, as the debt service goes down, will have a more positive.
Mm-hmm. When we, just before Chuck starts, when we sell the piece of land the Judicial Center is going to be located on for $3.4 million, or whatever the figure is, does any of that money go towards reducing the debt service, or where's that money go?
That will go towards the cost that have been associated with the acquisition of that piece of property and the relocation costs associated with that particular piece of property. So it won't go for the garage, but it will go towards retiring debt that was incurred as a result of acquiring that property. We've been funding that through short-term borrowing, so we've really only been paying interest on it. So this money coming in will just go towards eliminating the principal.
What specifically is the question, Councilor? Well, the early garage, by plan, was not going to be profitable for about 3 years. In fact, it has come on a lot stronger than we anticipated, Councilor, because we have almost 500 cars parking in that garage now on a monthly basis, which is much faster than we thought it would. So as a result, to answer your question, the startup was always planned to be negative. We would not be profitable till the third year of operation. So to answer your question, yeah, it is, I guess you could say, is subsidizing some of the other, it's not paying for itself, is the bottom line of that. But there are other things that offset that, like special events from the other garages. Those kinds of things will offset part of that cost as well. And as the manager says, what we have seen is a significant, the buildup of down there is that, for example, when the new courthouse comes online, we expect that will add to the revenue stream. As the Hamilton Canal District plan starts to come into its own, The building across the street, for example, is being developed into condominiums, which is another thing that's impacted a little, is the market for condominiums these days. Some of the builders of the condominiums have actually slowed down their startup of some of those things. But overall, the garage right now is actually doing a little better than what we had planned.
So it's a little ahead of schedule. And just reading the literature, it mentioned increasing cost to park there. I know the cost right now of parking in the garages is fairly reasonable, but it did mention to alleviate some of this debt that we would entertain raising the cost of parking. And is that something you foresee coming sooner than later?
Yes, it's, one of the things we've just had Central Parking actually do a survey of how we rate with parking fees across the Massachusetts, and we are the lowest actually in the area. That's why on our plan we've recommended to the council that come January we're going to come forward with a rate increase to adjust that.
And is there a percentage tied to that rate increase right now, or
is it what?
A percentage tied to that rate increase?
In terms of how much, what the percentage is that we would be looking to increase that?
Yeah.
Do you happen to?
Probably in the 10% range.
10%. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I made the motion, and when I did make it, I guess I had some dirty looks. I said, what are you doing? You know, it's, I just assumed that was the way we did it, like Councilor Lindsay said. So, but I do have some questions. And by the way, Mr. Manager, you did do a good job on it. I did take a look at it, and you can actually write that down that I'm complimenting you on something. Okay?
I have it on tape. I've already ordered a copy.
Right. Write that down.
Put that in the minutes.
Okay. First of all, I'm just looking at the law department where you have some professional services for $90,000. Is that something we hire out to attorneys? Or?
That's a mix of both outside attorneys for certain specialized cases, but it also includes all of our medical cases, workers' comp, and injured on duty for police and fire. We have a doctor that we contract with to provide the necessary medical work for those, as well as a nurse that works with the cases on an individual basis. So that's where all of those monies come from. I think the doctor is about $50,000, and the nurse is about.
That's correct. The vast majority is primarily going to the city physician, which we have listed in our budget for $1, but is actually paid as a contract employee. So there's no
that's
there's no
fine.
benefits.
As long as we're not hiring outside services
Yeah.
for
But it's
something we
both
can do in house.
It's both the nurse and the doctor, and that's really what
Okay.
accounted for the jump.
Also, I noticed that we pay telephone poles for lighting for $925,000.
925, right, the street lighting.
Street lighting. Do we collect taxes or any type of revenue on the telephone poles? Or nothing? Can we?
No, that's the issue of the telecommunication tax.
How does-
We've picked up some of that's in there this year because of the decision was made by the appellate tax board, but we also have to include some in overlay until that matter is resolved, and that could take some time before that.
Yeah. Now, I talked to someone during the week, and they mentioned street lighting. Do we have the most modern lights there to save any type of energy? Is that something
Could you repeat that, Council? I didn't.
On the lighting, is that we have the most up-to-date lighting there as far as saving energy? Do they change that from time to time, or just when a light goes out, they replace the bulb? Do we know that?
It depends on the particular street light. It's a somewhat of a complex system that Mass Electric or National Grid, or I guess now Keyspan, uses. That their rate structure is such that you pay based upon the types of lighting that you have. A mercury vapor, for instance, is more expensive than a sodium.
Okay.
And then you have the different categories of sodium. We're actually looking at a couple of things right now. We're looking at changing over some of the street lights with lower cost lighting. That would reduce the
that's
the
what
size.
That's what I'm asking, right?
And that's what we'd be working with them on. That only makes sense in certain cases because of the rate structure. They amortize the costs over time. So if you change over too soon, you end up having to pay almost a penalty for the changeover. The other option, though, that we're looking at that came about as a result of the deregulation of the electric company was the notion of buying the streetlights ourselves, and we're investigating that as well to see if that could save us money. A number of communities have done this. I did this in another community where we actually went out and bought the streetlights. There's the capital cost up front, and there's the operational cost, but you contract out for those operational costs, so the maintenance, but you get a much lower cost in terms of the...
I bet in the long run we save money.
In the long run, you save money.
Yeah, almost $1 million a year just for street lighting.
Right.
Something I didn't realize. But also on the trash recycling, in the budget here, I know Councilor Malinazzo asked the same question. Are we going with the 125? Is that we're gonna? Is that what?
That's my recommendation.
That's where we're going right now. Right?
That's my right.
Okay.
Right.
Before it was like 175 or 200.
That would be just a flat fee to sort of just to bring in additional. That was before we really had the full discussion of pay as you throw. That was to get a better chunk of the overall cost, but it didn't do anything to encourage recycling. But it was a number that we had put together.
I understand that.
So, but no, okay. I think of the 125 and the $150 for each bag is the preferable.
Right. Okay. I just like I said, I commend you. Did a good job on the budget. I think we just have to watch the facilities we have, the parking garage, the arena, the ball field. They're all great facilities, but it's costing the taxpayers a large amount of money. We're probably looking over $3 million just between the three facilities.
Right.
And now we're going to have to raise taxes 2.5%. So I think we have to tighten our budget and really watch the facilities. And I'm sure everybody's aware of it, that keep an eye on it and see if we can get that down. So possibly we won't have to raise it 2.5%. Because we get contracts coming up next month or two, and maybe we can make it work. So
absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is going to be difficult because I don't quite know how to do this. But the motion that's before us is to approve the budget, $302,639,495, but that number is no longer in effect because of that dollar.
Right, we got that here.
So I'd like to rescind the dollar if I can. Or do you have it?
Yeah, I will have that.
You have what?
When I present the vote, that figure will be there.
Okay, but I would still like to rescind that because I don't want the headlines to show that City Council cuts $1. And that's what's exactly what's going to happen. Rescind the elimination of that dollar. If that's possible, I don't know how we can do that.
Yeah, move to reconsider. Can I move to reconsider that?
Yeah, he's got a good
Second.
Point. He's got a good
for
point
reconsideration.
there.
It was a 9-0 vote, so anybody could make it.
Okay. So, is that what we vote on
Motion
first?
to rescind the motion brought forward earlier to eliminate a dollar position in the city clerk's office, seconded by Councilor Martin. Roll call.
This is on a vote to reconsider the previous vote.
No, to
Councilor
rescind it.
Lindsay?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Armin Mercier?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercier?
Yes.
Councilor Milinazzo?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian?
Yes.
9 yeas. Now we'll vote on that.
Now we'll vote on this bottom line.
It's 95.
Before we take a vote on the bottom line, first of all, I want to personally thank all the department heads for being here this evening. It's a very, very hot evening, but I know the budget is very strenuous, not only this evening, but for the last couple of months. And I want to thank you for working with the manager and coming in with a budget that we're in favor of. Okay, make sure. And before we take that vote, Mr. Manager, just two questions. The $1.4 million on the overlay account, we're going to address that in September, October, in that time frame.
That's our goal, yes.
And
yes.
the free cash.
Yes, ma'am.
If there's any free cash, substantial amount of free cash, we will come in with a supplementary budget in November to set the tax rate and utilize that money to lower the tax levy. That's all?
Wouldn't we have to vote on that?
What's that?
We would have to come forward. We'll work to get that free cash number, so that then we can determine how the money would be utilized.
Right. We've done it in the past, many, many times. So, this is the vote. Approving budget for the City of Lowell for fiscal year 2009, whereas pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 32, the city manager submitted a proposed budget for fiscal year 2009 to the City Council on June 4, 2008, and whereas the City Council held advertised public hearings to consider the proposed budget on June 9, 2008 and June 10, 2008, and whereas upon motion, the City Council accepted the budget as submitted by the city manager after reductions otherwise separately voted, if any. Now therefore, be it voted by the City Council of the City of Lowell that the City Council of the City of Lowell hereby adopts and approves the budget for fiscal year 2009 for the City of Lowell, including all line items therein as if separately voted thereon, in a sum of $302,639,495, which sum shall be appropriated and raised by taxation and other sources, including but not limited to revenue sharing. Any discussion? If no discussion, roll call.
Council Lenzi?
One question before we start, please.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor. Being on the board at Greater Lowell Technical High School, can I vote on the entire budget?
And the bottom line. Bottom line.
That's okay.
You're all set to vote on that.
Okay. Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Armin Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazanjian?
I also want to disclose that I do business with MRT and also CTI. I'm going to vote in favor for the budget.
That's,
Okay.
Yes. 9 yeas.
Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor and Councilors, let me, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for your support of the budget. It has been a lengthy process, and in particular, I want to thank the Mr. Moses, Mr. Sheehan, the help from Ms. Wright, and also, obviously, I want to thank all the department heads for their hard work in going through this entire process. They did an outstanding job in adhering to the directions that we put before them. They simultaneously fought hard for their budgets and their needs for what they do, and I just want to thank them for all their hard work as well.
Before we adjourn, this past weekend, I was at the Massachusetts State Democratic Convention. I was there Friday evening. I was there a good portion of Saturday. And the comments from people from Springfield, Newton, Wellesley, Boston, Cape Cod, Connecticut, all over the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. They loved our city. There wasn't one empty hotel room. The restaurants were doing a flourishing business, and the comments were all positive. Excellent comments. And one of the questions was, what is your secret? I said, well, we all roll up our sleeves, work together, and make it happen. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn by Councilor Armin Mercia, second by Councilor Broderick.
All righty then.
Mr. Manager?
Thanks, Jim.